Subscribe to my YouTube channel for deeply emotional, romantic, and mature stories that echo through your heart. Don't forget to like, share, and comment to support meaningful storytelling. The rain had been falling for 3 days straight, and Maya Chen felt as though it was washing away more than just the dust from her apartment windows. It was washing away the last remnants of the life she thought she'd built with someone who, it turned out, had never really seen her at all. She stood in her small bathroom, steam rising from the shower she'd just finished, when the doorbell rang. The sound cut through the quiet melancholy of her evening like a blade through silk. Maya wrapped her towel more tightly around herself, water still dripping from her dark hair onto her bare shoulders. The doorbell rang again. "Coming," she called out, her voice barely carried beyond the bathroom door. She padded across the hardwood floor of her studio apartment, leaving small wet footprints in her wake. Through the peephole, she saw a figure she hadn't expected to see for at least another month. Daniel Rivera stood in the hallway, his dark hair damp from the rain, a small suitcase at his feet. He looked exactly as she remembered from their video calls, tall, with those gentle brown eyes that had always seemed to see straight through to her soul, and that slight smile that appeared whenever he was nervous. Maya's heart stopped then, started again with a rhythm that felt entirely foreign. She had met Daniel 6 months ago through a mutual friend's wedding. He lived in Seattle. She lived in Portland. The distance had felt manageable then, just a few hours by car or a quick flight. They had talked every day since that wedding, their conversations stretching from morning coffee to late-night confessions. She had fallen for his laugh first, then his kindness, and finally for the way he listened, really listened, when she spoke about her dreams of opening her own art therapy practice. But now, standing behind her door in nothing but a towel, Maya realized she had never prepared for this moment. The moment when the person you've been falling in love with from a distance suddenly becomes real, standing in your hallway. When you're at your most vulnerable. "Maya?" Daniel's voice was muffled by the door, but she could hear the uncertainty in it. "I know this is unexpected. I got an earlier flight, and I wanted to surprise you. But if this is a bad time..." She opened the door before he could finish his sentence. For a moment, neither of them moved. Daniel's eyes widened slightly, not with inappropriate interest, but with something deeper, recognition perhaps, or the sudden understanding that the woman he'd been talking to for months was now standing before him, real and present and beautiful in a way that video calls had never quite captured. "You came early," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. She was acutely aware of the towel, of her bare shoulders, of the way her hair was still dripping. But something in Daniel's expression told her that leaving to get dressed would break whatever delicate moment they were sharing. "I couldn't wait," he said simply. "I've been thinking about meeting you, really meeting you, for so long that when I saw there was an earlier flight, He trailed off, seeming to realize for the first time that she was in a towel. "I'm sorry. I should have called first. I can wait outside while you..." "No," Maya said quickly, stepping aside to let him in. "Don't go. Please." Daniel hesitated for just a moment before stepping across the threshold. He set his suitcase down by the door and looked around her apartment. At the easel in the corner with a half-finished painting, at the books stacked on every available surface, at the small kitchen where she'd left a cup of tea growing cold. "It's exactly how I imagined it," he said softly. Maya felt something shift in her chest. For months, they had shared pieces of their lives through screens and phone calls. He had seen her apartment in the background of their video chats, had heard her talk about her daily routines, had even helped her choose the paint color for her bathroom during one particularly long conversation. But having him here, seeing him take in her space with his own eyes, felt like the final piece of a puzzle clicking into place. I was just getting ready to make dinner, she said, though she made no move toward the kitchen. I wasn't expecting. I mean, I thought you weren't coming until next week. I know, Daniel said. He turned to face her fully, and Maya saw something in his expression that made her pulse quicken. I was supposed to wait. We were supposed to plan this out, make it perfect. But Maya, I've been thinking about you every day for 6 months. I've been wondering what it would be like to be in the same room as you. To hear your voice without the delay of a phone call, to... He stopped, running a hand through his damp hair. I'm sorry. I know this is overwhelming. Maya felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, though she couldn't have said whether they were from happiness or fear, or the strange relief of finally having him here. It's not overwhelming, she said. It's terrifying and wonderful, and I don't know what to do with my hands. Daniel's smile was soft and understanding. You don't have to do anything with your hands. You don't have to be anything other than exactly who you are. The words hit Maya like a warm wave. For the past month, since her relationship with her ex-boyfriend Marcus had ended, she had been questioning everything about herself. Marcus had criticized her for being too emotional, too invested in her art, too willing to believe in the possibility of deep connection. He had made her feel like her capacity for love was somehow a flaw. That Daniel was looking at her as though her emotions were not something to be hidden or managed, but something to be treasured. I should probably get dressed, Maya said, though she didn't move. Probably, Daniel agreed, though he didn't look away. They stood there for another long moment, the rain still pattering against the windows, the dim light of her apartment casting everything in soft shadows. Maya felt as though she was standing at the edge of something vast and unknown, and for the first time in months, she wasn't afraid to jump. Give me 5 minutes, she said finally. Take all the time you need, Daniel replied. I'll be here. Maya walked to her closet, acutely aware of Daniel's presence in her space. She could hear him moving around quietly, probably looking at her paintings or the photographs on her refrigerator. She pulled on a simple sundress. Nothing fancy. Just soft cotton in a shade of blue that Marcus had once said made her look washed out. She had kept wearing it anyway, because it was comfortable and because she had liked the way it felt against her skin. When she emerged from behind her folding screen, Daniel was standing by her easel, looking at the painting she'd been working on. It was an abstract piece, all swirling colors and emotional brushstrokes. The kind of work that came from somewhere deep inside her chest. This is incredible, he said without turning around. I can feel the emotion in it, even though I can't name what it is. It's about longing, Maya said, joining him in front of the canvas. About waiting for something you're not sure will ever come, but hoping anyway. Daniel turned to look at her, and Maya saw understanding in his eyes. Is that what the last 6 months have been for you? Waiting and hoping? Maya nodded, surprised by her own honesty. What about you? The same, he said quietly, except I got tired of waiting. They moved to her small kitchen, where Maya began preparing dinner with an ease that surprised her. She had expected this moment to be awkward, full of the stilted conversation of two people trying to bridge the gap between digital intimacy and physical presence. Instead, Daniel seemed to fit seamlessly into her space, asking where she kept the wine glasses, offering to chop vegetables, sharing stories from his flight that made her laugh. I sat next to this elderly couple, he said, dicing tomatoes with surprising skill. They were going to visit their grandson in Portland. The woman kept showing me pictures and telling me about how he's learning to play violin. And all I could think was that I wanted to tell you about it. But you were right here, waiting for me. Maya felt warmth spread through her chest. I do that too, she said. I'll see something beautiful or funny, and my first thought is always that I want to share it with you. As they cooked together, Maya found herself stealing glances at Daniel's hands as he worked, at the way his shirt pulled slightly across his shoulders when he reached for something, at the small scar on his chin that she'd never noticed in Mer. Video calls. Each detail felt like a gift, something new to add to the collection of things she knew about him. "Can I ask you something?" Daniel said as they sat down to eat. "Of course. What ended things with Marcus?" Maya set down her fork, considering the question. She had told Daniel about the breakup, but only in broad strokes. The details had felt too raw, too complicated to share over a phone call. "He said I was too much," she said finally. "Too emotional, too intense. He said I was exhausting to be around because I felt everything so deeply." Daniel's expression darkened slightly. "That's not a flaw, Maya. That's a gift. It doesn't feel like a gift when someone you love tells you it's the reason they can't be with you." "Then he didn't deserve you," Daniel said with quiet conviction. "Someone who sees your capacity for emotion as a problem instead of a treasure doesn't understand what love is." Maya felt tears threatening again, but this time they were different. They were tears of recognition, of being seen and understood in a way she hadn't experienced in so long. "I was scared," she admitted. "When we started talking, when I started having feelings for you, I was scared that I would be too much for you too. That eventually you'd get tired of my feelings, my need for connection." Daniel reached across the small table and took her hand. His fingers were warm and slightly rough from his work as a carpenter, and Maya felt a shock of electricity at the contact. "Maya," he said gently, "I drove 4 hours in the rain because I couldn't wait 1 more week to see you. I couldn't sleep last night because I was thinking about this moment. If anyone's too much, it's probably me." Maya laughed, surprised by the sound. "You're not too much. You're exactly enough." They finished dinner as the sun was setting, the rain finally beginning to ease. Daniel helped her clean up, and Maya found herself hyper-aware of every moment their hands brushed as they passed dishes. Every time he moved past her in the small kitchen, the air between them felt charged with possibility and the weight of 6 months of anticipation. "I should probably find a hotel," Daniel said, as they dried the last plate. "I know we talked about me staying here, but I don't want to assume—" "Stay," Maya said quickly. "Please, I have a pull-out couch and I don't want you to go." Daniel studied her face for a long moment. "Are you sure?" "Unsure," Maya said, though her heart was racing. "I've been imagining what it would be like to have you here, in my space, for months. I don't want to cut it short because we're both nervous." Daniel's smile was soft and grateful. "I'm definitely nervous." "Good," Maya said. "That means this matters to you." They settled on her couch with glasses of wine, and Maya curled up against the opposite arm, her legs tucked under her. Daniel sat facing her, one arm stretched along the back of the couch, and Maya had to resist the urge to close the distance between them. "Tell me something I don't know about you," Maya said. Daniel considered this for a moment. "I have terrible handwriting," he said finally. "It's so bad that I had to type all my notes in college, because even I couldn't read what I'd written." Maya laughed. "That's not what I meant." "I know," Daniel said, his expression growing more serious. "But I'm trying to work up the courage to tell you what I really want to say." Maya's pulse quickened. "What do you want to say?" Daniel was quiet for a long moment, his fingers tracing patterns on the couch cushion. "I want to say that I think I've been falling in love with you since the night we met. I want to say that every conversation we've had has made me more certain that you're the person I want to build a life with. I want to say that sitting here with you now, seeing you in your own space, watching you move through your world, I'm more sure than ever." Maya felt her breath catch. Daniel. "I know. It's fast," he continued. I know 6 months of long-distance dating isn't enough for most people to be sure about something like this. But Maya, I've never felt about anyone the way I feel about you. And I hope that maybe you feel the same way. Maya set down her wine glass with trembling hands. I do feel the same way, she said quietly. I was just scared to say it. Why scared? Because what if this weekend doesn't go well? What if we don't work in person the way we work on the phone? What if I'm building up something that isn't real? Daniel shifted on the couch, moving slightly closer to her. Maya, look at me. She did, meeting his warm brown eyes. This is real, he said. What we have is real. The way I feel about you is real, and I think what you feel for me is real too. We don't have to figure out everything tonight, but we don't have to be afraid of what we already know. Maya felt something inside her chest unfurl, like a flower that had been waiting for the right moment to bloom. What do we already know? We know that we care about each other. We know that we make each other laugh. We know that we can talk for hours and never run out of things to say. We know that we want to be together, even if we haven't figured out all the logistics yet. Maya nodded, feeling tears slip down her cheeks. We know that I've been happier these last 6 months than I've been in years. We know that I've been planning my life around our phone calls, Daniel added softly. We know that I've been imagining what it would be like to wake up next to you every morning. The confession hung in the air between them, heavy with possibility and promise. Maya felt her heart hammering against her ribs, felt the weight of the moment settling around them like a warm blanket. Daniel, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes? I don't want to wait anymore either. Daniel's expression softened, and he reached out to brush a tear from her cheek with his thumb. What don't you want to wait for? For us, Maya said. For whatever this is going to become. I don't want to waste time being scared when I could be brave instead. Daniel moved closer on the couch, close enough that Maya could see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes, close enough that she could feel the warmth radiating from his skin. Can I kiss you? He asked. Maya nodded, her heart racing so fast she was sure he could hear it. Daniel's hand cupped her face gently, his thumb tracing along her cheekbone. I've been thinking about this moment for months, he said softly. So have I, Maya whispered. When Daniel's lips met hers, it was nothing like the first kiss she had imagined during their long phone conversations. It was better, softer, and more urgent at the same time, filled with 6 months of longing and the relief of finally being in the same space. Maya felt herself melting into him, her hands finding their way to his chest, feeling the solid warmth of him beneath her palms. When they broke apart, both breathing heavily, Daniel rested his forehead against hers. Wow, he said softly. Yeah. Maya agreed, her voice shaky. Wow. They stayed like that for a long moment, breathing each other in, adjusting to the reality of being close enough to touch. Maya felt as though something fundamental had shifted in her world, as though the last 6 months had been leading to this exact moment. I should probably set up the couch, Daniel said eventually, though he made no move to pull away from her. Probably. Maya agreed, though she didn't want him to move. Daniel smiled, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. I'm not going anywhere, Maya. We have all weekend to figure this out. As Daniel set up his bed on the pull-out couch, Maya changed into her pajamas and tried to process everything that had happened. When she opened her door in a towel earlier that evening, she had expected awkwardness, maybe some stilted conversation as they tried to bridge the gap between their digital relationship and reality. Instead, she had found something she hadn't dared to hope for. The discovery that Daniel was exactly who she had fallen in love with, only more so. More gentle, more present, more real than she had imagined. Good night, Maya. Daniel called softly from the living room. "Good night," she replied, settling into her bed with a smile. She couldn't seem to shake Dot as she lay in the darkness, listening to the quiet sounds of Daniel settling in for the night just a few feet away. Maya felt something she hadn't experienced in months. Complete peace. For the first time since her breakup with Marcus, she wasn't questioning her worth or her capacity for love. She wasn't wondering if she was too much or not enough. She was simply happy. The next morning, Maya woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of someone moving quietly in her kitchen. For a moment, she was disoriented until she remembered. Daniel was here. He was real, and he was making coffee in her kitchen, and she got to spend the whole day with him. She found him standing by her window, looking out at the city as it woke up. He had changed into fresh clothes, and his hair was slightly mussed from sleep, and Maya felt her heart skip at the sight of him. "Good morning," she said softly. Daniel turned, his face lighting up when he saw her. "Good morning. I hope you don't mind I made coffee." "I don't mind," Maya said, accepting the mug he offered her. "How did you sleep?" "Better than I have in months," Daniel admitted. "There's something about being near you that makes everything feel right." Maya felt warmth spread through her chest. "I know exactly what you mean." They spent the morning walking through Maya's neighborhood, Daniel's hand warm in hers as she showed him her favorite coffee shop, the park where she liked to read, the small gallery where she hoped to display her work someday. With each step, Maya felt more certain that this was what she had been waiting for. Not just Daniel, that this feeling of rightness, of being with someone who saw her fully and loved what he saw. As they sat on a bench in the park, watching children play while their parents chatted nearby, Daniel turned to Maya with a serious expression. "I've been thinking," he said. "About what?" "About us. About what happens after this weekend." Maya felt her stomach tighten slightly. "What about it?" "I don't want to go back to Seattle," Daniel said quietly. "I don't want to go back to phone calls and video chats and missing you every day. I want to figure out how to make this work, really work." Maya studied his face, seeing the sincerity in his eyes. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that I want to move here. To Portland. I want to find a job here. Find an apartment here. I want to build a life here, with you." Maya felt her breath catch. "Daniel, that's a huge decision. You can't just uproot your entire life for someone you've known for 6 months." "I'm not uprooting my life for someone I've known for 6 months," Daniel said gently. "I'm uprooting my life for someone I love. Someone I want to spend the rest of my life with." The words hung between them, heavy with possibility and promise. Maya felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, but this time they were tears of joy. "You love me," she whispered. "I love you," Daniel said without hesitation. "I love your laugh, and your art, and the way you see beauty in everything. I love how you feel things so deeply, how you're not afraid to be vulnerable. I love that you make me want to be braver, kinder, more present. I love you, Maya, and I want to build a life with you." Maya felt her heart swell with emotion so intense it almost hurt. "I love you too," she said, her voice thick with tears. "I love you so much it scares me sometimes." Daniel reached for her hands, holding them gently in his. "It doesn't have to be scary. Love doesn't have to be something that hurts, or something you have to earn. It can just be this. Easy and right. And good." Maya looked into his eyes and saw her future there. Not just the next few months or years, but decades of mornings like this one, of quiet conversations and shared dreams and the deep satisfaction of being truly known by another person. "Okay," she said softly. "Okay? Okay, let's figure it out. Let's figure out how to build a life together." Daniel's smile was radiant, and when he kissed her this time, Maya felt as though she was finally coming home. As they walked back to her apartment, hand in hand, Maya thought about the woman who had answered the door in a towel the night before. Scared, uncertain, still healing from wounds that had made her question her own worth. That woman had been brave enough to let Daniel in, literally and figuratively, and Maya was grateful for that courage. Because sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with a moment of vulnerability, a willingness to be seen exactly as you are, and the trust that the right person will look at you and choose to stay. Daniel had seen her at her most vulnerable, and he hadn't left. Instead, he had stepped into her world and made it infinitely brighter. And Maya knew with the certainty that comes from being truly seen and truly loved, that this was only the beginning of their story.